Hello everyone and welcome to another stream. It is time again for some GT3 racing. It's the AOR PC GT3 Elite League on Project Cars. This is Season 6, round 4 out of 8 at Oulton Park. And as you will see, as I'm about to switch out to the track, ba-bam, it's a wet one. We're gonna have some raindrops falling, and I am as usual Fizzy, here to call the action for you, and alongside me is the man, the myth, the Project Cars guy, Yorkie065.
I like how I'm a myth, but thank you very much. Welcome guys to the stream once again. Obviously here every Wednesday. This should be a good one with the rain. There's a lot of rain. It's not just a few raindrops like Fizzy alluded to. There's actually quite a bit, which is
several
good.
raindrops.
Should spice up the action. Yeah, it should spice up the action.
It really should. It's the first wet race of the season, the first wet race we've had in a while, to be honest. The man who just jumped back to the pits and currently nearly driving inside another car in the pit lane. That was the current championship leader, SDL Man Gator, who is holding on to provisional third position in the session so far. So let's have a look at who is above him at the moment. Worth pointing out, of course, in this qualifying session that Man Gator has taken pole in all of the first 3 races of the season, but that was, of course, in the dry. He's now dropped down to 4th even, so Suomi, the race winner of round 1, is in 3rd as it stands. Charf, the race winner of last week, is in 2nd, and let's see then who's on pole, and it's Papand actually, a race winner of Monza last season. So several race winners to pick from here, and Papand so far, Yorkie, is looking the best in this session. Yeah, we're using the full Oulton Park circuit. So it's the Oulton Park International Circuit, which has, you know, the fast left-hander all the way down to the hairpin at the edge of the track. It's got both of the chicanes, both the Britain's chicane and the Hislop chicane, for those who know corner names on this circuit. Which I don't, by the way. I just looked at the track map just now. So yeah, Yorkie, obviously, there's a bit of a variety of cars there. Let's have a look at the current car overview for the league. We have 7 BMW Z4s, 7 rough RGT8, 4 Ginettas, 3 Aston Martins, 2 Mercedes cars, and 1 McLaren. So which out of these cars, Yorkie, do you think will have some kind of advantage or disadvantage in wet conditions?
I'd say
That's a long question.
Having an advantage would be the Z4. It seems to be king of the wet. Having a disadvantage, though, quite surprisingly, is apparently the Ginetta. Apparently the Ginetta's like 2 seconds off the pace, according to what Clarkson said. Yeah, when I joined the lobby, and at the moment,
That's massive.
that seems about right.
Yeah, let's have a look at where the Ginetta boys are.
Yeah, I've just left the session and come back in, and Chaff
Gronstra is the highest Ginetta at the moment, in 12th. So yeah, that might well be very correct information.
The Hugoslux mix in 12th. So I have no idea of the lap times. At the moment, for me, the fastest time that I'm seeing in the Ginetta is Jim Beam with a 1:39.2.
Yeah,
or 3.
That was the right time. He's actually, wow, there's a big gap from 12th to 13th. You got Gronstra on a 38.2 and then Jim Baum on a 39.2. So towards the bottom of the field, it's kind of spread out quite a lot, but still close at the top. Man Gator's just popped himself into provisional pole, then where it's been for the first 3 rounds. He's taking a 4 tenths of a second advantage over Papand as it stands. So yeah, you said the Z4 might have an advantage in the wet, but at the moment it's a rough front row here, so clearly that's also a competitive car, and yeah, actually 4 of the top 6 at the moment, Yorkie, is the rough cars. Yeah, we're getting towards the end of the session here. People are presumably on pretty much their final laps. We're about to start our final laps. We are currently following Suomi around, who's dropped down to 4th. After Man Gator popped himself higher up in the standings, he's got 1 corner left to navigate. There's a rough gun off the track ahead of him to not be of any sort of distraction. And Suomi goes up the hill, across the line in just a moment. Can improve on his 1:36.6. Yes, he can. He would a 5/10 of a second improvement to 1:36.1, and he is happy with that time. Actually, yeah, he would never have had time. Just about would never have had time to set another lap there. Really, let's see if anyone is on the track. The top 3, top 4, top 5, top 6, top 6, all in the garage right now. So the highest on the current timing list, out on track to actually maybe improve on his time, is Enzo in the third of the Z4s in the session right now.
It sounds about right. Although Gron's just dropped down into 11th place. Who was it who popped up in front of him?
Either Hideaki or Nismo, as he's now down to 12.
Brandress.
Yeah, so Brandress up to 8th in the Mercedes.
Yeah.
As Enzo is probably
That's
the last
a
now
good
to
time
cross
in
the
the Mercedes.
line. He's gone up to 6th, he's gained 1 position as Enzo as well, dropping Mikael down to 7th. A decent qualifying for Mikael as well, it must be said. But here are the order then for the starting grid here at Oulton Park. Mangator on pole for the 4th consecutive race, but he's only managed to convert one of them into a win. And then Suomi and Papand and Scharf ahead of Jeff, Enzo, Mikael, Brandress, Gibbs and Hideaki in the top 10. Nismo, Gronstra then follow, so the rest of the drivers are too far down for me to read before the time runs out as usual. And yeah, unfortunately again, it seems that Kaki isn't here. Which makes me quite mad, because unlike the previous 2 weeks, he hasn't informed me of his absence this time. So even as a champion, I will be having a serious word if he doesn't have a very good reason for this.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him back as well, because obviously title chances slipping away. There'll be someone coming fairly soon to come pick up that trophy and take it away from him and place it into the hands of someone else.
I know that Dindas is missing, and Nova is also missing. Those have actually informed me, so the 2 other BAM guys have actually informed me of their absence, unlike Kaki. But yeah, here we are on the grid then. And we are about to go green here! And there's no cars moving. As usual, we're gonna have a manual rolling start. And Yorkie, remember that you will need to stay on the grid, because you'll be given the task to check for ghost cars, basically.
Yes.
Just in case any show up and try to ruin the start, like they did last week for Suomi and a few other cars.
Correct.
Alright. So the main straight should be clear for any unwelcome guests, which means that Mangator is ready to lead the field away in just a moment's time. The cars are now at the formation point with me, which means they are lining up into 2x2 formation. Mangator ahead of Suomi on the front row, Papan and Scharf following directly behind. You can see the grid here. But now it's only the climb up the hill as Suomi's off the track! Why is Suomi off the track? Not again!
Possible issue.
That's a definite
That's the
issue.
only reason why I think he's pulled to one side, but that has put a massive, great big hole in front of who was it? Chaff,
yeah, it's gone up into second. Well, he's kept hold of second ahead of Papan there, just about. A bit of side by side at the start. Jeff getting close as well. Of course, all of these guys promoted the position now because of Suomi mysteriously pulling off to the side. Brandress in 6th position. I swear then that he has potentially gained a couple from where he started. Mikael in 7th. Yeah, I think Brandress has passed Mikael actually. And Hideaki getting very close to the back of the roof of Mikael, getting a bit squirmy there through the high-speed left-hander as well. But so far there doesn't seem to be any sort of incidents as I say that. Yeah, what's going on there? Gronstra's off the track. Oh!
Yep. Jim Boom as well. He was also very slow there. Potential slowdown penalty. I did check back on Suomi as well, who haven't seemed to have got running. He's retired to the pits, so he must have had an issue. That's the only reason why I think he's pulled off to the side. Mr. Arcon's dropped way back as well. I think he may have had a contact somewhere along the line, but at the moment it seems to be a Mangator in the roof. He's popped out a couple of car lengths to Chaff behind, who seems to be dropping Papand, Jeff, and then Enzo in 5th position as Brandress goes out wide, and so does another roof of Mikael behind. Hopefully the rejoin is relatively safe between these guys, and there's no contact.
Oh my goodness, there's nearly 3 wide there for a moment.
There was a little bit of argy and bargy as Brandress was trying to come back onto the track, and cars are going left, right and centre trying to avoid him and go around. to slot our positions, but that's cost Brandress quite badly as well. He's now dropped down into 10th position. Hopefully any damage picked up by anybody isn't too severe. Hideaki at the moment following his teammate and a teammate sandwich as well, with Gibbs in front of him in 7th place, chasing down Mikhail, and then we got Nismo in 9th place. The three of them there in the Z4, and then Gronstra in 11th place with his teammate E-Classens in 12th.
Yeah, top two have started to pull a bit of a gap. You'd assume that without whatever issues Xiaomi had, he would be sort of in the middle of these two, which is where he started. But Gator going quite heavy on that curb. I don't know if that is how you're meant to do that corner, because I haven't driven this track in the wet, so in the GT3 car, I must admit. But Gator holding on well to the lead at the moment through the Hislop chicane, ahead of Charf, Papant, second or so behind, then Jeff ahead of Enzo, very close contention between those two. Mikhail in 6th position, holding up quite a bit of a train. Gibbs and Hideaki just following him, and yeah, it was those two. It was one of those two on the previous lap, I think, who were briefly on the grass going down towards the penultimate corner. But yeah, luckily they managed to keep control of the car without any major dramas happening. Hideaki now coming under pressure from Nismo, one of his teammates.
Yeah, Hideaki was having a little bit of a look. He's getting very close to the back of Gibbs there. Managed to avoid making contact with him, a little bit of a squirm. This is rejoining the track and trying to get traction back down. He has only lost one position to his teammate. That was Nismo behind. But now Brandress is right up on the back of his Z4. I was just saying, yeah, Hideaki lost the momentum whilst there. Oh, there's someone spinning in the background. That's Sula. Spun off at the exit of turn 1. He's managed to avoid making contact with the wall. He's rejoining the track now, but that's dropped him down quite a few positions, down into 17th. Mr. Alcon is the only driver behind him.
Tarion is also off the track on the next corner in the Mercedes. So he's also had an issue off camera there, and he's going to nearly drop back towards where Sula ended up. So of course, in these conditions, we haven't seen too many individual mistakes really. We've seen a few mistakes and stuff in close wheel-to-wheel battles, but we haven't seen too many cases of drivers really dropping it by themselves so far this season, as far as I can remember. But of course, these conditions will make it much more likely that mistakes from just normal driving errors will happen.
Yep, definitely. Obviously, the wet make it just that a little bit more difficult, and also with the curbs as well.
Spray in their face.
Yeah, and then you got the spray, reduced visibility as well. It all just adds up slightly, and although the conditions may not seem too difficult, it's over the course of an hour-long race. Obviously, you got to keep the concentration levels up high, pretty much the entire length of the race, and that is can be quite the challenge, as obviously you need a lot of mental endurance. But I did see Gibbs earlier having a little bit of a look at Macau, and is getting relatively close again. I think Gibbs is looking to try and get past that roof in front of him and see if you can fill that rather large gap that is building between 5th and 6th position.
Yeah, I had a brief look up to the leaders as well, and Gator still a similar gap down to Charf by like half a second or so. They were lapping a car which I think was Mr. Alcon, who you said dropped way back earlier, so he's probably been in the pits, I guess, to fix some damage potentially.
Yep. He's just got out of the way of the train of 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Who's let those go nicely.
As Gibbs nearly dropped it onto the grass, and that's going to put him very much under pressure from Nismo behind. But luckily for him, there was a chicane there, so Nismo didn't have a longer straight to really take advantage of that. And Gibbs holds on to it, but yeah, this was a clear oversteer moment for him, and you've got to be careful to not have too many of those. Mikhail getting slightly out of shape through the chicane there, I think, and Nismo still all over the back of Gibbs, who rides the curb on the outside, but despite that, Nismo seemed to get a better run out of the corner there. But this is so tricky to find a place to overtake here, unless the driver ahead makes a mistake really, because the straights aren't too long and the corners are very, very tight. And actually now it was Nismo's turn to have a very slight moment of oversteer, and that's given Gibbs a little bit of breathing space again.
Yeah, as the second time as well, I've actually seen Nismo take a tighter line on the exit. He was staying off the actual racing line, which could provide him with slightly better traction coming out of the corner. So it'll be interesting to see if he'll do that a third time on this lap now that they're on, and see if that line will actually end up working out for him at some point along the line. As obviously there is more grip off the racing line. It's just you're off the shortest route around the circuit, therefore it's that balance. You'll find the extra traction, but you'll be driving a longer route around the circuit, and therefore you kind of lose time that way as well.
Yeah. Looking at the battle for third position, Papin very much under pressure at the moment from Enzo in that Z4. So it's a Rough versus Z4 battle for the lead at the moment, which are trying to keep up with Mangator over there. And then we have a Roof versus Z4 battle also for third position. So these are the two cars most seen on the grid for this season. Papin, did he get out of shape there? No, he probably just took a slightly unusual, just a quick turn over to the right side of the track on the exit. What do you think?
Gibbs has lost the car a little bit through the chicane and has dropped back even further from Mikhail Hideaki.
Oh yeah, it's a big gap.
Is now now closed up onto the back of Gibbs after that mistake. So car's getting a little bit tricky to control. Possibly some overheating starting to settle in with a couple of the guys.
Hideaki's gone past Nismo in that case, because Nismo's the guy who challenged Gibbs before, so it's been a mistake and or overtake happening there, and Nismo trying to get the position back though. Will he get a run down into the first corner? It's not too much of a braking zone down here, but yeah, so Hideaki holds on. We're pointing out of course that Hideaki is one of the only, if not the only driver currently in the league driving with a pad. I can't imagine the struggles he is having, not only with the decisions but with the controller input as well, making it as a wheel driver myself, even more difficult. So the way I think about it, as the battle for third is still very close. I thought I saw a little side-by-side moment in the distance, but I think Papin has got Enzo covered for the moment. Of course, the Z4, as we know, not the best on the straight, but you'd assume that all of these guys, in terms of what setup they've chosen for this race, will have gone with quite high downforce on their cars, meaning that straight line speed will be sacrificed either way.
Never mind. Lap driver.
Oh no! Oh yeah, yes, there was.
Yes, it's a lap driver.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Alcon.
Poor Mr. Alcon, man. We're only on lap 6, and he's basically lapped by the whole field at the moment. Of course, that is kind of what happens if you have to go in the pits for damage repairs that early on, and with a relatively short lap as well. You may be sitting in the pits for a minute, and that's basically you losing a lap almost. So yeah, unfortunate start to the race for Mr. Alcon. Of course, all the drivers down to 16th place, scoring points though. So he might get rewarded in the end by just staying in there and just trying to finish enough of a distance over the race to be classified for points, and then you wouldn't bet against him being in the top 16 at the end, because currently it's only 17. And yeah, there's definitely going to be a few more. Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be a few more mistakes happening, as Papin is defending the inside line into the hairpin from Enzo. That is the closest he has been so far this race. Papin keeping his head cool there and holding on here.
Yeah, we're a little like he was carrying a little bit too much speed and had to stay on the brakes a little bit coming into the second part of that chicane. However, he did manage to get it slowed down, but that could compromise his exit a little bit. But with the traction of the roof and the slightly better straight line speed, would have benefited more than the Z4. That's following very, very closely behind him. In some ways, almost a little bit too close, as it could potentially lead to contact if Papin does have a mistake and starts to lose the car. Obviously, it gives him less time to avoid the spinning car in front. So an awful lot of trust between these two guys at the moment, and then Jeff there as well in 5th place. He isn't too far back from these two guys either.
Yeah, he's definitely closing in when they're battling.
Yeah, he is, especially as these two are starting to get a little bit closer and try and push each other a little bit harder. We saw Papan there in the final turn, missing the apex. He's managed to hook up the apex on the inside of turn 1 though. Dula is in the pits. He's retired.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, I noticed before that Sula was even behind Mr. Alcon. Considering the race Alcon is having, so Alcon's now into the points actually in 16th, because we've lost another driver. We lost Claessens, I think, because he's now appearing in the chat, saying that Ginetta is not drivable in the rain, apparently. He was having a quick peek through the field. Brandreth was in 11th there, and Jim Baum very close with Curry actually in the battle for 12th position. That's another Ginetta. Ahead of a McLaren, the only McLaren left in the league after Tomasi unfortunately had to pull out due to lack of time on Wednesdays.
Oh, here we go.
Where do we go?
Could be Hideaki getting up alongside Gibbs. Gibbs, I think, ran a little bit deep going through the chicane, and Hideaki just took the better line. Although Hideaki got on the grass there, that could cost him in this corner.
Again, I thought it was going off the track.
Yeah, he's just about managed to keep it on the track between the white lines. There is a tiny little bit of grasscrete out where he did run wide, so I think he may have just about picked that up and avoid dipping the wheel onto the actual grass where he would have had no grip. With grasscrete, you would have some, obviously reduced from actual track surface, but still enough to make it around the corner.
Yeah, worth putting on Jim Baum. We saw him close ahead of Curry before Bransky pointed out in the chat that he had a 150 on his lap time on the last one, so he's definitely made a mistake, which is why they were suddenly so close together. With, of course, already 3 drivers, I believe, having dropped out. Sula, Claessens and Suomi. Unfortunate. That's the race that we got a side-by-side, we have got a pass even! That was Nismo going straight past Hideaki down the straight. So yeah, Hideaki must have just got a really poor exit out of the chicane, Yorkie.
Possibly. I didn't see it. I dropped further down the field to see what was happening.
I didn't understand how Nismo got that overspeed all of a sudden. But yeah.
Hideaki may have let him go, possibly thinking that
our teammate
Nismo is quicker, so let him through. Yeah. Although there's 4 of them were using the same Z4.
Gibbs isn't technically in their team. It is Nismo. That's Team Kappa with the Nismo, Hideaki and Enzo, the man in 4th right now. They're in the team, and Gibbs has just gone with a similar livery for some reason. So maybe he wishes to be part of the team, but you could only have 3 drivers per team, as it stands.
Okay, explain some things then.
Feeling better now, and enjoying watching the cars kick up some spray. Papan's on the grass! Papan's on the grass! Can't Enzo take advantage on the outside of the exit of the triple chicane? He cannot! Oh, so close to getting ahead of him finally after looking at the back of that ref for so long. Papan did make the mistake, but Enzo just was too far back to get ahead.
I had missed what had happened, but I did just about manage to pick up Papan off the racing line coming out of that corner, and obviously with the traction from the roof as well, being off the racing line, he may have just had a slight grip advantage when you got things straight and put the power down to just about hold on to the position from Enzo in front. I was also going to say we have lost a Nismo. Nismo has dropped from the race, and that's put Mr. Alcon up into 15th place for 2 points. So everyone's going to be scoring at least 2 points or more in this session, but that's pretty unfortunate to lose one of the 3 Z4s that were battling away for 7th position.
Oh yeah, it's a big shame. So another one bites the dust in the race. We've got 15 runners remaining then out on track right now. Just to follow up on the illness topic, that was apparently also the reason Suomi is out of the race, because he, at the end of that formation lap, thought he was going to be sick and had to run away from his car. So that's the reason for that. Very bad timing, you have to say.
Yeah, good on him though for trying to brave it out.
Yeah,
obviously unfortunate that it came at that sort of time. He could have done a Mark Webber and threw up inside his helmet.
His helmet, yeah. I'm sure he was sitting there with his helmet and.
Things are still the way they were before. The Papan seems to be going relatively consistently. Pretty poorly through that corner. Has actually got Enzo on his outside now as they come on the run down towards turn 1. Enzo, there's a little bit of contact though between the two sticky cars. They both managed to break away from that though, but that's brought Jeff right up onto the back of Enzo now, and this is a very, very tight three-way fight. Jeff having a little bit of a look down the inside of Enzo coming into the long left-hander there, but for the moment the positions stay as they are after that very slight tap coming into turn 1.
Must be so frustrating for Enzo to not be able to get ahead. He's had 2 really, really clear-cut opportunities, but both of them Papans has defended well after initially having a bad exit out of a corner. So Enzo still in 4th position. And will be looking to get himself into 3rd for what would be his 2nd podium of the season. Papan also looking for his 2nd podium of the season, and I guess sort of a pretty close championship fight as well between those two. It's only 15 points separating Enzo in 3rd and Papan in 5th in the standings going into this. They were split by Suomi, but of course with his being sick and not scoring any points again today, Papan is definitely, if he finishes here, going to move himself at least up to 4th, unless something really bad happens to Enzo that drops him down the field. But Enzo is not looking down the field and thinking about the drivers behind him at the moment. Well, he's probably thinking a little bit about Jeff in his mirrors, but he's mainly surely thinking about Papan ahead and trying to get that position. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one to pull off.
Back of his car, let's take a very quick look back. But as to see, Gibbs is on the grass and rejoining behind Hideaki, who's managed to get in front. Not too sure what happened to Gibbs. He must have been totally on his own in doing so. I don't think he ran too far out onto the grass on the exit out wide there, but obviously far enough to cost him the time and the position. He's now dropped down into 8th place. Hideaki now up into 7th. Ronstrup is looking pretty close, lurking there in 9th place in the top running Ginetta.
Yeah.
Yes. Jeff has done something.
Oh no, he's done something.
Previous lap.
Oh, what's he done?
Now,
Jeff, why are you done?
Position.
He doesn't even have a lap timed for the previous lap. What's happened there? Has he pitted? Yeah, he might have pitted, to be fair, actually. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we haven't really spoken about this too much. You mentioned it briefly in the warm-up that the you didn't think the wet tires would wear out to the extent that that need to pit, but you never know. Fresh tires in conditions like this surely will be beneficial. Question, of course, will be if he can make the time up again.
Yep. Sorry, I was chuckling there because I'm reading the chat. And apparently the chat spotted this absolutely ages ago, and we've taken absolutely ages to pick up on it. Of course, they've got the overlay standing, so they can
yeah, we don't have the overlay, guys. Enough. Please excuse us.
Yeah, we don't have that. We can't
only on the
see
stream.
It, so yeah, we have no idea until we actually pick up the actual camera action and see it there and then. So apologies for missing that. I'm guessing, judging by the chat's reaction, he has not made a pit stop.
Pitted, yeah.
No.
Just about on time, I think.
What? Oh, Grud's just gone off the track. Oh, he's made contact with the wall as well in turn 3.
Oh!
I was having a look to see where Jim Bound was, and I clicked on Gronstra just for the sake of clicking on someone to watch, and I just happened to pick him losing the rear end of the car. He's taking his time to rejoin the circuit. It seems he's got a fair amount of damage on the front of his car, but he's now dropped down into 14th place. Not sure if this is...
Got a whole lap to do pretty much as well, if he's going to get to the pits.
Well, there's an accelerator there somewhere. Go, go, go. This has now got... Oh, that's Jeff coming up behind him.
And he's spun it again, and there's some more damage. Just
you feel so
finish
hopeless.
The job.
Yeah, you feel so hopeless in those... there goes...
Yeah.
Is tired back to the pits. But yeah, I was going to say, you feel so hopeless in those kind of situations where you have no grip, and then you just have the most pathetic, like, slow speed half spin
Yeah.
And
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have. What? I heard a clunk.
Not clunk. We can't afford to lose more drivers.
I think it might have been someone hitting the
Oh,
tires back
Chuff getting
through.
super hard on the curve on the penultimate, on the final corner there. Really, it looked like he was going to lose it nearly, but he's kept hold of it. He's dropped way behind Mangator now, it must be said. He's probably
He has, yeah.
more than 10 seconds behind, or around 10 seconds behind.
It wasn't on the previous lap, but Papan is getting very much pressurized by Enzo. They now managed to clear Hithorian behind him. Corey's now actually battling with Hithorian. He's dropped back from Jim Baum that you mentioned earlier. Sorry. I think Corey may have pitted, as we just saw Slux Mix as well, I believe, in the background in the pits.
Yeah,
whilst I was watching.
I did see some
Papan.
kind of movement in the pit.
Yeah, so I believe he's now going in to make a stop. How many laps? They're 28 out of 42, of about 14-15 laps left to go. So, I don't know, it could be people who are struggling with the tyres are now starting to make some pit stops to see if they can potentially gain a position or two from the guys around him. Because again, Papan looks really, really slow going through the middle part of that chicane.
Yeah, I'm going to ride on board actually with the front bumper of Enzo for a lap. It'd be interesting to see sort of what sections of the track he gains on Papan and what sections Papan is able to pull away. And you can see he's keeping up nicely through the triple apex chicane here. And then on the exit, yeah, still pretty much close to him, but obviously you need to be much closer, especially in these conditions on this track to make any sort of challenge for Nova's sake. Papan slightly off the apex here. Through the double right-hander. I guess a decent exit as a result of that wide entry. And now into the penultimate corner as well. So staying very close together, but taking pretty much the same line there. So Papan is able to be quite comfortably head into turn one. And then you see quite a bit of the curve, both of them, on the exit. Down the hill again into turn 2. Should be a good corner for the set 4. Going to stay in the slipstream, and of course the spray will feel even worse for Enzo inside that cockpit, where he's having the window wipers, luckily for him, to clear some of that away. Papan with a slightly defensive line into the hairpin here. Can Enzo take advantage on that and get a better exit with a wider entry? No, he cannot, as they now get past Mr. Alcon, who is 2 laps down now, I believe, in the race, but still sticking at it to get a couple of positions, a couple of points at the end of it. And there we go, that's the lap on board with Enzo, and we are basically at the exact same gap as we were when he started.
Hideaki has now pulled away. Gibbs has just gone and spun off in the chicane in the background as I was picking up Branduris.
Oh, there he is. Oh,
yep, he's now getting back on the track, somewhere in the camera shot. There we go. Picking him up as he accelerates up, but that's going to cost him an absolute ton of time. Obviously, with that, looks like he's got some damage to the front, but Jim Baum is quite far back, so he should be okay. One thing I will say, though, is keep an eye out in the background of the picture with this battle between Papan and Enzo. And the set of headlights that you'll see behind is Macau. He is catching these guys in their battle. He took about 8-9 tenths out of Enzo on 2 laps ago. This previous lap, he's taken like another 2 tenths, so it's not massive, but you can see him. He's there in the background, and he's closing up slowly onto these guys. Let's see if I can go digging for any other people. Jeff is there, Hideaki is there, Branduris is there, Gibbs is there.
This is very in-depth commentary.
I was just thinking it as I was saying. I was like, this does not help the stream whatsoever. Saying they're there. Ithorian's in the pits. I can be accurate about.
Oh, so he's there.
Just picked him up. Yeah, he's there or there.
Oh, look, there's Chav. He's there in the chicane. Oh, and he's coming up to Jim Baum.
7 laps to go. It'll be interesting to see as Papan again looks to be slow through that chicane. It could just
Yeah.
be that camera angle. That's the only thing. I think if he's taken a slightly different line and the camera angle makes it look funny, it therefore makes it look like Enzo is so much quicker. Although that time going through, both of them climbed up the rather large sausage curb on the inside, as Papan looked to be trying to save the car a little bit.
Indeed. Big fan of sausage curbs when they don't throw me into the walls. At least those that stop people from corner cutting, I do appreciate those. But oh, is he gonna go for it? He's gonna go for it after looking at the back for so long and a slight wheel banging there, or door banging. And is he gonna be able to get ahead? Oh, Papan has got a better momentum. Man, that was an opportunistic move. I guess that was the moment the patience ran out, Yorkie. He just went for it out of nowhere.
Yep, I think Enzo recognised that as well, and has obviously let Papan go back in front. But yeah, pretty much spot on. I think Enzo has gotten a little bit fed up of staring at the back of the roof in front of him, and was wanting to try and make an opportunity work at some point along the line. Hoped that Papan was napping a little bit, and decided to send a little bit of a dive bomb up the inside. Obviously there was contact, but for the moment Enzo is still behind. But that would have frustrated Papan a little bit, but also would have put him on high alert to the fact that now Enzo is desperate to get past.
If Papan was maybe losing focus a little bit, that is definitely just walking him right up again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I didn't see that coming. And to be fair to Enzo, it nearly worked out. It was a very ambitious move, of course, but there wasn't that much of a contact. It didn't really affect the cars too much, but yeah, I guess it's only fair that he stays behind when there was contact. But yeah, he's getting closer, I guess we can say. And again on the same place, he's getting very, very close. Is he going to have a similar attempt now? No, I think he has realized that Papan probably would have expected it if he had tried it again that soon after. But did carry more speed through the corner. But again, the braking zone for turn 1 isn't really one where you can be too brave on the brakes, because you're not on the brakes for particularly long. Papan slightly wider on the exit there. We've only got 6 laps remaining now in the race. These guys still battling intensely for that 3rd place position. Both looking for their 2nd podium of the season. One of them only can get it, and ends up looking in the mirrors on the inside of the fast left-hander, going into the hairpin, and Papan is forced defensive again, but he brakes later and has him covered. Yorkie, it's I don't know what to say anymore. It's just he's gonna have to take something special, I guess it's fair to say, by this point for Enzo to get past, considering how long he's been unable to do it.
Yeah, it's the intensity is starting to wrap up between these two guys, and it's going to be an interesting last 5.5 laps, and Macau is closing up behind him as well, so this is working very nicely into his hands. If these guys keep going at it, as Enzo gets very, very close.
Get a break mid-corner there to not hit it.
Yeah, the line he just took just opened up that corner and was able to carry the speed through, whereas Papan was still kind of tiptoeing his way through the corner. So I think Enzo's got the much better tyres and is probably sensing that over
could come into effect at this point.
Yep, and is now actually wanting to do something about it again, coming into corner where they had the slight tap 2 laps ago. Both of them very neat and tidy through that time. And it seems like Enzo does get a decent drive coming out the corners. It's just when it actually comes down to the straights, he starts to slip back because of the straight line advantage of the Z4. Of the roof.
Oh!
In front of him.
Is he going to stick his nose up the inside? No, he isn't. I'm quite surprised that it didn't try to remain on the inside there for the corner. It's not a particularly easy corner in these conditions, especially to go side by side there, but it's such a fast one. He'd probably end up understeering into Papan, to be fair, if he tried it, but yeah, he almost had half his car alongside there. They could have tried something, but decided that the safest thing to do was to back out. Of course, if these guys were to have an incident now, they'd both lose out on the third place position, because Mikael is sitting right there and definitely is closing now up to these guys. He's much closer through that chicane than he was a couple of laps ago. On the previous lap, he was not that much faster actually, but I think on this lap he's closed a tiny bit. It's Mikael, and these guys can't afford to have any noticeable incident, because then Mikael would be right with him, and we'd have well, they'd have even more to worry about than just the two of them.
Yeah, definitely. It's that risk versus reward balance, that factor, and at the moment the risk is ever increasing with, as you say, Michael behind him. He is pretty much in a prime spot to take full advantage of these two guys if they do have it coming together and they have to slow down for whatever reason. Between the contact, Brownski pointing out that Gibbs has dropped down behind Jim Baum.
I just looked on that.
Down into 10th place.
He's very close behind him as well.
Is he? Yes, he is.
Right behind him. And Jim Baum's car not looking in the best shape either.
Gibbs having a little bit of a look, maybe, see if he can try and slot himself back up into 9th place. Coming into the hairpin, closing under braking. I'm now torn between which battle we should watch, whether it's these two guys or
you can watch Gibbs' battle for a bit, and I'll keep an eye on the third place, because I think and Enzo's gone for it, and there's contact. They're both slightly off the track. Is Mikael going to be able to take advantage? Just make Papan spins off to the inside. Mikael is through up to 4th place. That was the incident we were talking about that they really couldn't afford. Enzo has gotten away with it now and is carrying on. I am unsure really who to put that on. I mean, it looked like it was Enzo who went for an slightly ambitious move up the inside again. I can't really remember, to be honest, exactly how far up the inside he was before the braking zone. But yeah, he's moved up the inside. Might have just caught Papan off the guard a little bit again, unless he just braked too late, and that was the reason they got pushed wide. Either way, though, Enzo has decided for himself that he was fine with that move, and he's staying on in 3rd position. Mikael up to 4th, right behind him now, and Papan probably majorly frustrated with that, having held on well for so long, and then to have that happen, that is game over as far as his podium position is concerned.
Yeah, jump back to that just in time to see it as well. I think for the moment, from what I saw, I'm going to point the blame at Enzo for that. It looked like the contact came from his end more than Papan's.
It didn't look like there was too much of a gap on the inside, really.
No, Enzo was clearly alongside, but I don't know if he was alongside coming into the actual braking zone or whether he got alongside by braking later and running deeper. But there was quite clear contact that pushed both guys out quite far wide as well, and yeah, like you said, Mikael prime position to take full advantage of that. Obviously, jump back to the battle between Gibbs and Jim Baum. That's also still going on for 9th position in these final few laps. The one that we jumped away from just in time to see that contact for the battle for 3rd position. Gibbs getting so close up to the back of Jim's car into that right-hander there. Didn't look like there was contact between those two, but it certainly looked to be very, very close, and Gibbs is certainly trying to pressurise Jim in front of him to try and get past. Yeah, fairly much between those two cars as they come off the final corner, and then down to start their final lap. Yeah, Jim is on the inside, giving Gibbs a little bit of a squeeze. Gibbs trying to hang it around the outside, tucks in just underneath the rear wing. Now switching to the inside for this next turn too. He's got the inside for that almost alongside. Backs out of it.
He didn't dare. It's such
but he's near enough pushing Jim through the corner. He's right up underneath the rear wing. That's actually going to cost him momentum from that as well, as I think he had to fight the car a little bit to try and keep it under control, and has gone and dropped back a couple of car lengths. That may have potentially ruined his real chance to try and get past Jim at some point, despite looking so very, very close to take that 9th position.
I'm just going to point out that Mangator only has a few corners to go in this race before he is crowned the winner for the 2nd time this season, and it will extend that championship lead to 7 points over Charf, currently on course for finishing 2nd. And here we go, Mangator across the line for his 2nd win of the season, takes the win here in the wet at Oulton Park. Very impressive drive. Charf is going to come home shortly to get second, and then Enzo, as it stands, will be getting third position out of Mikhail in fourth, Papand in fifth, and then Jeff comes next in sixth. Hideaki 7th, Jim Baum in 8th, still ahead of Gibbs. This is the one, I guess, to watch until the end of the race. It's gonna have one corner really for Gibbs to do it, and Jim Baum is forced defensive air into the final corner. Gibbs gonna have to brake late and be really brave around the outside. Slight door banging there, and Gibbs is on the ground, and there's still gonna be side by side. They're a very equal exit of the corner. There's gonna be photo finish, and Gibbs is just behind him as Jim Baum basically loses the car across the line. And what a finish that was!
Yeah, that was very close. It looked like Gibbs was lighting up the tyres as they came over the crest to try and get alongside. Two of them very, very close and putting an awful lot of trust in each other. Very, very good defensive driving by Jim Baum there. I believe he managed to pop himself just about ahead of Gibbs. So very good defensive drive in those last few minutes. And I think the order that you are calling out is the order that they have finished in beforehand.
Actually,
yes.
Brandress just went up to 8th. So
that's where he was, I believe. Yeah, because Hideaki and Jeff were between him and Papan. Papan obviously in 5th.
I think
Jeff
the order
in 6th.
we're looking at the moment is the correct one.
Yes.
Yeah, and a streak that Brownski has been mentioning, I think he was on about something along the lines of we had 7 different race winners in the last 7 races or so, but that will have stopped now with Mangator getting the second win for him in the last 3 races. As we have 2 cars basically mating, going into the pit lane. It's always fun. And yeah, Mikhail is
it his
parking.
garage?
Yep. Well, now he is. For me, I'm gonna agree with Brownski on that. I'd say Mikhail is gonna be my driver of the day. Right here, okay. Next week we have Imola then back in the dry there, I believe. Yeah, we have a dry race at Imola, where of course it was wet last time we were there. But what do you think? Do you think more action is gonna be kicked up around the...
That should be good. It's a pretty good track for overtaking and battling, so I'll be looking forward to that one. Obviously quite a long, big long start-finish straight, so cars can stretch their legs there. Corners suit the Z4 reasonably well with the change of direction, so it'll be a little bit of an interesting unknown one with how well the Ginettas and stuff like that run there. It'll be interesting. I look forward to it.
I think that wraps it up from this race at Oulton Park. We are at the halfway point of the season. There's going to be one more race before we have a 1-week Christmas break before the final 3 races. So next time, as mentioned, is the race at Imola. And yeah, that'll be at the same time again, Wednesday night, 8 PM UK time. Hope you have enjoyed the race here today, and we'll see you then, Yorkie.
Yes.
And we'll see you then, everyone else.
Thank you very much for tuning in, guys.
Yep, hopefully it'll be a good one next week, and we'll see you in Imola. Goodbye!